Afera, rockowo i alternatywnie.
Okay, so this is my first time speaking in English on the radio. So I'm sorry for any mistakes because we're having some guests from New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
And it's Lawrence Arabia. So hi, guys.
Hi.
I'm very glad to meet you. And actually, the first question is going to be like, how are you doing here in Poland? Is this your first time or, yeah?
It is. I've been in Poland for about 3 hours.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
we just
right.
came from Berlin yesterday, or this morning we came from Berlin. So.
Oh, so I just wanted to ask you, how do you like here in Poland? But I think 3 hours is not enough to say anything.
It's very promising, but it's too early to...
Yeah. So maybe what are you expecting from Polish guys, Polish audience?
I don't know. We're playing in a gallery tonight, and it's like a window. It's very small, so I'm expecting to learn a lot about Polish people very quickly because we'll be so close.
Yeah, I think we're quite open people. So I hope that it's gonna be okay. You're gonna like it.
I'm sure we'll be fine.
But like, since you're from New Zealand, I'm wondering if you see maybe a difference between the audience from New Zealand and from Europe, because I know it's not your first time here in Europe, right?
No.
Right.
I think there probably are subtle differences, but I think that music on the whole is a very unifying thing. It triggers a lot of responses in people that are the same from country to country.
Yeah, but how about the reactions? Because I feel like maybe the taste of music in New Zealand is kind of different. Like, what do you think?
I mean, the difference sometimes for me is that because my lyrics are in English, and there's a lot of jokes in my lyrics, and sometimes it means that people respond to the music part of it differently. You know, in parts of Europe, they might not get the joke first time, and so they're listening to a different thing. And in France, they clap on a different beat of the bar to in New Zealand.
Okay. Sorry.
So there's subtle differences, but I think on the whole, when you get a band together and a bunch of people watching them, I think the response is normally quite similar. Yeah.
So you say that you have a lot of jokes in your lyrics. So actually, I was wondering, that was kind of one of my questions, like, what's the role of the lyrics in your music? Like, because usually people maybe they want to express their feelings, like maybe sometimes sad vibrations or something like that, and you say that you have jokes. So like, what is it all about?
Well, I find life quite funny in a lot of ways, and I just like expressing the absurdity.
Are you trying to make people laugh?
Yeah,
the lyrics?
I'm trying to make people laugh at the absurdity of existence and actually just human relationships. They're difficult, and there's lots of you resent people, and how do I put it? It's just I like examining human relationships, and I like the awkwardness and the difficulties you have in friendships, and little things. You didn't invite someone round for dinner, and someone's like angry at you for not. There's just the subtle social relationships that happen, and I like examining those things in my lyrics.
I know that Ray Davies is somewhat your inspiration in writing lyrics.
Yeah, one of.
All right. So what are the other ones?
There's some New Zealand songwriters, Chris Knox and Don McGlashan are two people who I really admire their lyrics, and
how about like music, in like whole thing, like lyrics, music, or playing?
The thing that really got me into music, the band that really got me into music was the Beatles. It was always the...
we can hear it definitely in your music.
Yeah, it's quite obvious sometimes. But it's just something that's in my genetics, and my parents brought me up on it, and it was one of the only bands we listened to at home. So no matter how hard I fight it, it's always there. So I mean that's a huge influence for me. And whenever I talk to people who don't know much about music or don't have a reference point, I always I just say, I sound a bit like the Beatles.
Bye. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but actually, how did you start music? Like, how did it? How did you decide? I want to be a musician. I want to create music.
I enjoyed listening to music, and I enjoyed playing music. I went to university and was doing a degree in political science, and just slowly I started, I had a band, and I started enjoying band practice more than studying, and I got a job at the student radio station and started writing music reviews for the student paper, and slowly I just was enjoying all of that stuff more than the studying, and my grades started at A, and then they went to B, and then they went to C. As I started following music, I enjoyed hanging out with musicians and going to bars, and it was fun. That's why I did it, and then it was lucky that I was also happened to have some talent in it. So it was, it was because it was more enjoyable than studying politics. I think, yeah.
All right. So, if you're talking about your music, then, like your latest album is The Absolute Truth, right? It's the title of the album. And I was wondering what Absolute Truth stands for, like the title,
Well, it's a few things, but it's from a lyric in a song, which is on the record. The song's called "Oh Heathcote," and
I think it's the best song, actually.
Oh, thanks. And the lyric is about when you get older and you're, the lyric is, and moan about the youth, while your arbitrary opinions become absolute truth. And it's just about becoming more fixed in your opinions about the world as you grow older, and being more grumpy and stubborn.
You think that's the absolute truth?
No, it's not. But it's ironic. It's it's a ridiculous thing that as you become older, you become more fixed in your opinions and less open to differing things. And it's something I try and fight in myself. And I mean, the other thing about the absolute truth is I'm always fascinated by the way, people listen to song lyrics and they think the truth. Because as a songwriter, I tell stories, and some of it's truthful, some of it's an autobiography, and some of it's just completely made up. And the idea that songwriters write absolute truth is, strange. But people genuinely do think that audiences often think that the details in songs are just an autobiography, a memoir. So
I think like musicians should maybe majorly people in most of the musicians, I think when they write lyrics, they take inspirations, just like maybe a bit from every story, and that's how they should write, right? It's not like, I think only people who listen to music, they think that, oh yeah, so he was heartbroken, right? So this is like every word is true.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the case. I'm sure some songwriters do write just complete autobiography, everything is true, but I'm not like that. But also this, as I've been going from album to album, this new record is I think it is more truthful. It is.
So it's not that ironic, right?
It's not. Yeah, it's not that ironic. Yeah. It's it's not the absolute truth, but it is, it's relatively truthful.
All right. So if you guys are curious how true is Lawrence Arabia, he will present here live his own song, Acoustic.
Maybe I'll do Heathcote, seeing we're talking about it. Okay. Hopefully this comes through.
I can understand why people talk with reverence about the changing of the seasons, about the bluing of the light that brings such melancholy. I can understand why poets do mythologize about the browning of the land and the hardening on the back of your hand. We were conceived in the back of a car, brought up in a bar, educated by TV. I got my PhD. Dee 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 dee, dee 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 dee. So now we crave all the comforts and accessories available, and complain about our backs and how it is impossible to relax. We walk the dog, and sadly we consider how everything's been ruined, and moan about the youth while our arbitrary opinions become absolute truth. We were controlled by an invisible hand, the fat of the land made us softer than the sea. I shall kiss you on your knee. He, 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 he. He, 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 he. And in September